Ghosts of the Republic
Radio.
All right. And now, tonight's special guest, SoCal Martial Law Alerts. And we've got Carrie and Kim. And you guys should be live on the air. Are you there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, this is Carrie. Kim is over in the other room, and she was like, you go ahead and talk. So it'll be me tonight.
Okay, now is she calling in on the Skype number, 111?
No,
Okay,
we don't have
okay.
Skype.
Well, I guess that person's just listening. If that person would like to talk or ask a question or something, please hit 1, I think, to raise your hand. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Now, this is Carrie or this is Kim?
This is Carrie.
Hi, Carrie. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Say hello to Paranoid, my co-host.
Hi, Paranoid. Great to hear you.
Good to have you on.
Now, who was going to speak first? You, Carrie, or are you going to have Kim speak first?
I'll speak.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Paranoid, I watched briefly your video on martial law, and I thought you had some very interesting things to say.
Well, thank you. And that video is just a question. I'm a freak of studying the law, and so there is an actual law form called martial law, and it is based off of maritime law. And a lot of the terms we use nowadays are in it, but I'm assuming that the martial law you're going to be speaking about tonight is a much more harsher version. Am I correct?
Yes. Basically, what our group focuses on is where the rubber meets the road. When do you have stormtroopers going down the streets? How do you prepare? And what are some possible scenarios that the government might actually do that? And when have they done it in the past?
Now, why don't you tell us a little bit how you guys started out and kind of how you guys ran into each other and what's the background on you guys?
Okay. Kim and I met through 9/11 Truth, so we're both very aware of that. And Kim started out as an assistant organizer for End the Fed, so we're both very aware of End the Fed as well. And from there, we met and we started talking. And there was a group on Meetup entitled U.S. Martial Law and Financial Alerts that was started by Grant Rostig. And both of us looked at each other and said, well, people really aren't covering martial law, so we ended up starting a group that had an even longer name than SoCal Martial Law Alerts, but it evolved into SoCal Martial Law Alerts. And basically, we created it off of the format that Grant Rostig had with his group, and that is, it's a meetup, but you're not really meeting up. It's an online check-in that once a week you would reply yes if you were okay and things looked normal. Maybe if you saw, some unusual activity in the air or unusual troop movements or excessive police brutality or something in your area or violations of civil rights, and then no, if you are in a stormtrooper situation, people are getting their houses broken into by SWAT teams, etc. So it started out as an online check-in, and then eventually we kind of became a news service, just grabbing all sorts of news that was in the news, very Alex Jones style of grabbing news that is out there that dealt with police, military exercises, tracking and tracing the police state. And then we evolved even further, and we now have like a YouTube channel, and we've kind of we're now focusing on our own original content, and creating articles and educating people on what is out there as far as martial law and how it's happened in the past in different countries as well as our own. It's happened in the United States before, and then giving people ideas and resources to talk to each other, to go ahead and network so they can prepare for what is coming eventually, because eventually this government's we think they're going to try it, obviously, because too many people are awake, and once in power, those who are in power will do anything to stay in power. So the only thing to do is, and we know from the New World Order and the white papers that they really do want the the boot stepping on the face of humanity for all eternity. So that's kind of how we came into being. We both got involved in Oath Keepers. We're Oath Keeper friendly. We're also supporters of militia, the militia movement, and for people to actually be able to protect their neighborhoods. So that's kind of the short explanation of how SoCal Martial Law Alert came into being.
Awesome. Now, you guys also have a blog talk show now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we are now on Blog Talk Radio every Friday night at 11 p.m. Pacific time. I know that's late for a lot of the country, but you can go ahead and go to our Blog Talk Radio channel, which is just SCMLA for SoCal Martial Law Alert. We have 3 broadcasts coming up this Friday. We're having YouTuber Warrior for God 13, who is a member of our group, and he's going to be he's very well learned in history, and he also works with a lot of people in preparedness of actually training and getting supplies and such forth. And so we're going to be talking about martial law and urban environment. What do you do if you live in Los Angeles or San Francisco and you're on a budget? What do you need, and how do you network with the right type of people? And once you have the right type of people, what has happened in the past, what has happened in previous examples such as Stalingrad and Kosovo, looking at situations like that, what are you going to potentially be dealing with in a worst-case scenario? And then Tuesday at 7 p.m., we're going to do a special broadcast with Coalition of Patriots, which is a California militia that's trying to get other militias to go over to Arizona to defend the border with the indiscriminate killing that's basically going on over there, and the fact that the federal government is derelict on their duty, and they have the audacity to violate, now they have the audacity to violate the 11th Amendment and actually sue Arizona. So we'll be talking to him on Tuesday, and then a week from this coming Friday, I'll be talking about martial law executive orders in the past that have been signed by presidents that dealt with maintaining law and order and allowing for federal troops to come in and support local law enforcement in certain situations. So I probably won't be able to go on to, I'll eventually cover emergency powers and executive orders, but executive orders, if people don't know this already, the president basically signs them, and it's really the fourth branch of government that is completely unconstitutional, 100% color of law, and it's royal dictate. So we're going to cover that next Friday.
Awesome. Well, definitely, it is important to know that you do cover more than just Southern California. You do basically cover all the country, and definitely need to be aware of what's going on out there. Now, we don't always agree with everybody that we've had on the show, and we don't always agree amongst ourselves even, but, and I am kind of split with the Arizona thing. There's a problem there, and the state has passed this law, legitimately, and now the government's going against them. It's getting crazy, but, I don't want it to turn into Nazi Germany, where's your papers either, you know what I mean? And once you let one thing slide, once you start rounding up one kind of people, then, it's easy for them to say, oh, you haven't had your N1H1, so we're going to round you up next, So it's a touchy subject, but they knew it was going to be, and that was their plan. It's another thing to distract us and keep us off balance and not focused on the things that matter. Instead of being focused on football games and athletes and stuff like that, we need to be focused on the real issues like martial law. And Paranoid, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I would just say that I agree with you. And as far as the Arizona thing goes, that's just crazy. I think that the states should be able to decide for themselves, but at the same time, I don't think they should be able to impede on people's rights. And realistically, the way I feel about it, I've said this before and I'll say it again, we can't allow them to be feeding the problem from both ends. As long as they're handing out free money to people who come here illegally, I don't want to spend more money building a wall I don't want to spill or spend more money paying for police officers to take my rights away. I don't think that throwing money at a problem that was created with tax money is the solution.